to Mysteries and Mimosas. My name is Max Sterling, and I am here with my lovely wife and your co-host, Arya.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Arya, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to another episode. Before we dive in, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe to our show.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram for exclusive content at Mysteries and Mimosas Podcast.
Today's episode is from 1982, and as always, we like to kick things off with a short trivia section from the year of the crime. This is our way to bring you back in time by asking each other trivia questions, and to get everyone thinking about where they were, and maybe even what they were doing that year.
If you were alive then. What do you think you were doing in 1982, Max?
In 1982, let's see, what month is this from?
December.
And from December, okay, so in 82, I had just turned 3 years old. I was probably, I was very advanced for my age. I probably just recently flexed out my first rat tail. I was probably hitting the gym pretty hard is what I would think. And really just studying.
Wow.
That's probably what I was doing. I was probably studying.
Probably, knowing you.
Yeah, I know exactly where I was in 1982 in December. Getting ready for Santa Claus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's accurate.
Yeah. After I was done studying and flexing out my rat tail.
Sure. Well, actually, the two statements from that are probably true are the Santa statement and the rat tail statement.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to bring it back. I've been growing it. Can you see it?
No.
Can you tell? You can't? Oh,
Not yet.
It's been a couple days.
Oh, okay.
It's going to make a return, like the mullet. It's like the mullet of 2026. That's probably how long it'll take for me to braid it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get your hair cut once a week, so I can't really imagine that you're going to do
true.
this. But
yeah, that is true. That's a good point. I don't like it being long at all. All right, let's get this trivia started. Each week I'm in the hot seat until I can get 100%, at which point we'll switch. And each week, Arya gives me the impossible trivia questions, the most impossible trivia questions she could find, in fact. And I think it's to save herself from constant embarrassment when I send the easy 5th grade trivia questions her way when she's in the hot seat.
okay, sure.
Yeah, that happens. My questions are so
trivia?
easy.
Okay.
My trivia questions, they're so easy. I mean, anybody could do it. Yours, you're like, I don't even know where you come up. I've never even fact checked you. I should start fact checking your trivia questions because they're pretty difficult. Anyway, I'm ready. Whenever you're ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
1982 trivia. What movie, directed by Steven Spielberg, premiered in 1982 and featured a friendly alien?
Ooh, that's easy. That's the kind of trivia question I give you. E.T.
Okay, what does it stand for?
Extraterrestrial.
Good job. All right. That's the
my
full movie
two
title.
2-0. 2-0
No,
for the trivia questions.
was-
Yeah, the first one was, what was the movie? The second one was, what does it stand for?
No.
E.T. Extraterrestrial. 2-0. Let's go to the number 3.
Okay, that was one question because the movie is actually called E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Which popular sitcom featuring a bar in Boston
Cheers.
debuted in 1982?
Cheers.
Yes.
We say it at the end of
Cheers.
every episode.
Yeah, that's why I thought that one was
All
funny.
right. 2 for 2 now.
Which biosynthetic product used for managing diabetes became commercially available in 1982?
Is it insulin?
It is insulin.
Dang.
Like, I
I'm on a
hope there's
roll.
people tuning in for the first time on this episode to hear you say that my questions are so impossibly hard. Like, they're not. They're not. These are easy questions.
Yeah, they are pretty easy.
All right.
But again, I'm a child of the 80s, so maybe they're hard for some.
I don't know.
This is right up my alley.
All right. Last question. Which children's toy brand introduced cars with real rubber tires in 1982?
Like the manufacturer name or the toy name?
The toy brand. The
Like-
brand of toy.
Like the Hot Wheels?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Hot Wheels.
That's what I was gonna say, Hot Wheels.
You did say it.
Oh yeah, I did say that. I was actually asking, like, are we talking about Hot Wheels or are we
Yeah.
talking about Mattel? You know, there's a difference. But
Oh,
I'm
true,
going
I
to go
guess.
with Hot Wheels. Is it Hot
Yeah,
Wheels?
it was Hot Wheels.
Did I just get 100%?
You did. You're
That
off the
means you're
hot
in the hot.
seat.
Did you do that
Yep.
on purpose because you got sick of asking questions?
Could be I got sick of looking up trivia.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I just rocked it.
You did. I'll
Yeah.
give you credit. You did.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
moving on to the mimosa recipe.
Yes.
Thank you for that very difficult trivia segment. This one, you got to give it a try, guys. This one is so good. I just came up with it on my own. All it is, of course, your favorite bubbly champagne or sparkling wine, whichever you prefer. And then your mixer is actually going to be Pink Whitney vodka and a splash of cranberry. So good. And dangerous. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's a little bit dangerous, but so good.
Yeah, you can only have one of those.
Yeah. Aria had like 3 of them this last weekend. I'm just kidding. She had one and she's like, yeah, that's done for me. She said, I'm done,
I
son.
actually said, yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's growing on you. Growing on you like a rat tail.
Okay. All right. Let's get into this week's episode.
I'm ready.
This is a really sad case.
Yeah. Hold on. You didn't even ask me how ready I was.
Oh, how ready are you?
I'm as ready as Aria standing in a food truck customer line.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
That's how ready I am.
That's an accurate statement. I love food. All right.
Have you seen that video before we get started? When the guy is driving down the street and he revs his motor and the boyfriend's walking with the girlfriend and he says, hey, buddy, if you're trying to impress my girlfriend, you better have a taco truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's you and me.
Yes, that is true.
100%.
I'm not denying it. I like food.
All right. I'm ready now. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry for the distraction, everybody.
No worries. All right, let's get into this
All right,
episode.
let's get into this episode.
Okay, don't do
All
that.
right, I'm not going to do that.
All right.
But I'm ready.
In the early hours of December 3rd, 1982, witnesses reported seeing a woman in a blue plaid shirt and blue jeans carrying a toddler along Highway 63 in Jackson County, Mississippi. Later, the same woman, described as being in distress, was seen walking along Interstate 10.
Huh, I wonder what that means, in a state of distress.
I don't know. They just said she was in an obvious state of distress.
Yeah, that could mean a lot of different things. Huh.
Despite offers of help from those who stopped, she refused any assistance. One witness, who was monitoring CB radio traffic between midnight and 3 a.m. on December 3rd, heard several truckers discussing the woman and toddler walking along the interstate. Notably, Highway 63 intersects with Interstate 10 near the Mississippi-Alabama border.
Okay.
So, we can be pretty certain, obviously, this is the same woman that was seen walking along Highway 63 and then Interstate 10, because they intersect right there. They're real close together. So
Yeah. Okay, so we have multiple witnesses who see this woman who appears to be in distress, and we have one witness who hears truckers talking about this woman on a CB radio?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm tracking.
So 2 days later, on December 5th, 1982, at around 7 a.m., a truck driver reported seeing a woman in a blue shirt and blue jeans floating face down in the Pascagoula River. So I've also seen it referred to as the Escatawpa River, but when I looked at the map, it looked like the Pascagoula River was the only one that passed under a bridge in that area of Interstate 10. But in doing my research, I did see both names for the river. So I don't know if it's one and the same or what.
Yeah, I looked at the map on this when you told me about this case, and the only river that actually goes under the highway is the Pascagoula River. There is an Escatawpa River right down there, so it's a lot of marshland. If you look at the map, this place is just covered in water. It looks like some kind of bayou, swampy area.
Swampy.
So I don't want to get lost in the details. Let's just hear what happened.
Yeah. A Jackson County Sheriff's deputy responded immediately, but couldn't find the woman. During the search, the deputy discovered a toddler in the weeds along the riverbank. The child was found face up and partially submerged, and was wearing a pink and white checkered dress and a diaper.
Wow, so none of the witnesses or truck drivers that were passing by ever saw her with a toddler? They just saw the woman, right?
Right. So, based on where the toddler was, you wouldn't have been able to see her from the road. She was kind of up in the weeds along the riverbank. And according to witnesses and in the law enforcement that was there, the trucker would not have been able to see that toddler from the roadway.
Wow, man, that's crazy that they found the toddler, but not the woman.
Yeah. Yeah, because from what I read, the deputy responded right away. So it seemed, I don't know what right away is. I don't know how much time.
Well, I mean,
there
an
was,
immediate
but
response could be like a 30-hour arrival time or 30-minute arrival time, right?
yeah, it could be,
Better
depending
not
on
be
where it was.
Better not be a
Hopefully-
30-hour.
Yeah, hopefully it's not 30 hours.
Yeah, it could be a 30-minute, could be an hour arrival time. Who knows, where they were at. But either way, that's pretty strange that they would find the
That she was
toddler
gone.
and not her.
Yeah. So despite extensive searches using helicopters, boats, and divers, the woman's body was never recovered. It was believed she might have been swept away by the tides or became entangled on the riverbed. Interestingly, though, while searching the riverbed, investigators found the skeletonized remains of an unidentified African American male who had been shot and submerged for about 6 months.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. So, unrelated?
So investigators later determined that this case was unrelated to the woman and the toddler.
Okay.
Just completely separate.
Man,
that's
that's
so crazy
crazy
though, right? Yeah.
So they okay, so this is bizarre. So they see the woman in distress carrying a toddler. The next report is they see, somebody matching the same description as this woman floating down the river.
Mm-hmm.
They respond, they find the toddler. Woman's nowhere to be found, but they're searching and they just find some random dead body.
Yes. Yeah, on the river bottom. In 2022, using genetic genealogy, investigators identified that man as Gary Simpson after tracking down one of his biological siblings. Gary's case remains unsolved to this day. So maybe another case we might look into.
Oh, yeah. No, we should totally Mystery Monday that one up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so getting back to toddler. The toddler, given the names Baby Jane and Delta Dawn, due to her discovery near a delta in the river, was determined through an autopsy to have been smothered before drowning in the river.
Man, those medical examiners are so good.
Yeah.
To be able to determine that. I mean, I'm sure it's not that big of a deal for them. They're probably looking for things in the lungs or whatever in the mouth.
Yeah, they found the river water in her lungs. That's why they determined that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, alive, drowned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's terrible.
They think she was smothered and then thrown into the river. Probably whoever did that may have thought she was dead, but she wasn't, and she actually ended up drowning. She was estimated to be between 1 and 2 years old, well-nourished, and had 12 teeth. She was 2 feet, 6 inches tall, and weighed about 25 pounds. So, with no known family, Baby Jane was laid to rest at Jackson County Memorial Park. Sheriff's Deputy Virgil Moore and his wife, Mary Ann Moore, raised funds for a proper burial. Baby Jane's funeral was attended by about 200 community members, with local police serving as the pallbearers. Her grave was inscribed with the words, Baby Jane, known only to God.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's really sad.
So the community came together and they were pallbearers for this unidentified baby.
They did, yeah. In 2009, Baby Jane's body was exhumed for DNA extraction. The DNA was entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, or NamUs, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. On December 4th of 2020, Jackson County Sheriff Mike Ezel announced that Baby Jane had been identified as 18-month-old Alicia Ann Heinrich, and the woman seen with her was Gwendolyn Mae Clemons Heinrich. The 2009 DNA sample was analyzed by Othram, a Houston-based lab specializing in genetic genealogy. Investigators used this information to locate Alicia and Gwendolyn's family in Missouri, who were the ones that confirmed their identities.
Interesting. So, I wonder, just a side note here, I wonder if the family ever, since the body's already exhumed, if they ever took that baby back to give her a proper burial at home.
I didn't see anything about that. I would think that
I really
they would
hope
have.
so.
Yeah, but I didn't see anything in my research about that. Gwendolyn's family reported last seeing her and Alicia at a Thanksgiving gathering on November 24th of 1982. So remember, they were seen walking along that interstate on December 3rd. So just not too long after, a week or so after that. Gwendolyn, who was recently divorced, had planned to move to Florida with a new unnamed boyfriend to start a new life. However, they never arrived in Florida, and the boyfriend ended up returning to Missouri alone.
And he never made any police reports.
Yeah, no. I don't know if her family ever reported her missing either, from what I'm reading. It says that Gwendolyn's family assumed they were just living somewhere in Florida.
Wow.
So I don't even know, they've never named the boyfriend, never released any of that information. No idea what he had said to everyone. Like, all of a sudden, I'm leaving on this road trip to go start a new life in Florida. And within a week or so, I returned back to Missouri by myself. I mean, that seems very suspicious, obviously.
Yeah, it's suspicious. I mean,
yeah.
But in defense of the family, I can understand. I think that probably we all have a relative that we lose contact with. They go do their own thing, and you just that they're around, but you just don't contact them. And there's no Facebook or Instagram or internet in 1982 to keep track. And if you don't have that family member, you might be that family member where no one really wants to talk to you. I could be that person.
Maybe it's me.
It might be.
I don't know. Yeah, so it's weird anyway. He comes back. They're not with him. Though Gwendolyn remains missing, the boyfriend, who is now deceased, was named a suspect in Alicia's death and Gwendolyn's disappearance.
Yeah, but nobody saw anybody else other than Alicia.
I know.
And Gwendolyn, but...
So I'm thinking about this, like, and just, kind of my theories are... So yeah, nobody reported seeing anyone else. There were several reports of seeing Gwendolyn carrying Alicia, but nobody else was around. They never mentioned that there was a car nearby, nothing, just that they were walking. And so, I mean, what happened? Did Gwendolyn and the boyfriend get in some kind of an argument or an altercation, so she gets out of the car and starts walking? And maybe is in distress, because I think the initial theory behind this, before the identification came out and it was found out that she was actually there with a boyfriend and the boyfriend returned without her, before all of that information was known, I think there was an assumption that Gwendolyn had done like a murder-suicide, had suffocated,
thrown her baby or something, and then jumped over. For sure.
And they never found her body, so they can't determine a cause of death for her. Was she hit with something? Was it blunt force trauma? Did she drown? Like, we don't know, because Gwendolyn's body's never been found. There are obviously other things that could have happened, right? Maybe she was picked up by someone, and they're the ones who killed Alicia and threw Gwendolyn off the bridge. I mean, we can assume maybe that she's been killed as well, but we don't know, because they've never been able to find her body. So there are a lot of things that are possible, but I think when you look at the big picture of the boyfriend returning to Missouri without ever reporting her missing or saying anything, that's what's suspicious to me. Like, if they got into some kind of argument or altercation and she says, "Look, I'm done." I wish I had more information, right? Were they in his car? Were they in her car? Like, we don't have all of that information, but for whatever reason, she gets out of the car and starts walking. Does he follow her? I don't know. That's just suspicious to me, though, is that he goes back to Missouri and just like forgets about them and never, you know what I mean? Like, because if something else had happened to them, wouldn't he be like, okay, yeah, we got into this argument and she got out and started walking, but I went to look for her and never could find her. This isn't like her. Yes, we've had arguments before, but she wouldn't just leave. And he never reports that either to her family or the police. I just think that's really weird.
Yeah, to me, it's very reminiscent of the Shannon Collins case. If you haven't heard that one, we did that one several weeks back. Shannon Collins is recently missing. And during all this time...
I don't think it was recent that he's been missing.
Well, it's more recent than 1982.
Oh, well, yeah.
But he's recently missing, and his wife and his stepkid, they don't ever report him missing. And he just goes on, and his distant family, or his, brothers, sisters, mom, dad, they never have any contact with Shannon. It's just like he fell off the face of the earth. Meanwhile, wife and kids are just leading this life like as if nothing happened. And they went to further, greater lengths to to purchase a cell phone to make it seem like he was still in communication with them when they know all along he's not coming home. He's never coming home. The family knows that. But maybe that would have been a similar case if we had cell phone technology in 1982. Who knows what the boyfriend said when he got back home?
Yeah, that's the thing. And now he's deceased too, so we may, we'll probably never know.
Right. Yeah, and I'm guessing if he had anything to do with this, he never confided into anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll never know until maybe her body gets discovered. Probably not. I mean, if she was over face down in the water, I don't know too much about this area, but I know there's alligators in the South, and for that reason, I don't get in the water when we go to the South. Not very often. I do have like some squirrel moments. Like one time I saw that turtle shell down in Florida, and I got off the jet ski and waded through the water, and crocodile infested waters. No.
Definitely alligators, for sure.
Well, whatever. Same thing. Alligator, crocodile, they all have a bunch of teeth. They're very mean. You don't want to get dragged down by one of them things.
That's true. So yeah, that's always a possibility too, right? That the tides carried her away, and that river goes out into the ocean too. So
it does.
It's possible, and it was right down on the coast. So I don't think it's like a great distance for her to have had to travel to get there. So it's very possible that her body might never be found. But
yeah, probably. I mean, it's 1982 by now. I don't think she'll ever be found. I would say, all signs indicate that she's not going to be found and that she is deceased. I'm just really happy that, they were able to identify Alicia and give her back over to her family, or at least give them, I don't know, a little bit of answers. I mean, that's the only silver lining that I could see here.
Yeah, after all these years, at least they have partial answers, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't, it's really hard to say what happened, right? The whole thing is weird, mostly because these truck drivers are having this conversation between midnight and 3 a.m., and nobody ever mentions seeing somebody else, just her and the toddler.
Yeah.
But the only weird thing about that whole thing is, sometimes people, they do get into distress and things happen. And, I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but there are murder-suicides with moms and children.
Yeah. I mean, postpartum depression is a big leading cause for the murder-suicides or the
things happen.
Murders.
Yeah, she could have been in a state of distress because of something that was going on with boyfriend. I just think that it's weird that if that is the case, why boyfriend wouldn't have gone and said, hey, we had this altercation and now I've never seen her again. Maybe he was worried. Maybe he was worried that he would get in trouble. I have no idea. It's just a really sad case, and I worry that that family's never going to get those answers because now boyfriend's deceased.
Yeah, but again, we don't know that the boyfriend is guilty. There could be somebody out there that knows something still.
Yeah.
There could be somebody else that's responsible for it.
That's absolutely true.
It's totally possible that they had an altercation, like you said, and just split ways, and he said, all right, well, deuces, I'm out.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know either, because she had just recently divorced, so I don't even know how long she had been dating this new boyfriend or what that relationship was like.
And that's why it's a mystery.
Exactly. For nearly 40 years, theories about baby Jane's identity and the events of December 1982 abounded. The new information, like I said before, about Gwendolyn's boyfriend just added complexity to the case. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office requests anyone with information about this case or Gwendolyn's whereabouts to contact them at 228-769-3036 or Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers at 877-787-5898.
All right, I'm just curious. Maybe you know the answer to this. This is not a trivia question. It will not be on next week's episode. And I don't want to sound too dumb by saying this, but if this river, it's a freshwater river, correct?
Yeah.
Runs into the ocean, how far can a shark
Right.
swim up into the river?
No, I've actually seen videos on social media where they're like, oh, sharks have been found all the way up in, I don't know, like way up, like in the middle of the United States, you know, based off of coming off these rivers that converge
At the
down
ocean?
at the Gulf. Yeah.
Okay, so then who do you think would win in a fight between a shark and an alligator?
Ooh. Probably a shark, I think.
You think so?
I think so. If it's
Okay.
big enough. I
Well, let
guess
me
it
just
depends
ask you
on the
this.
size.
If you were in the water, wading in the water,
Uh-huh.
doesn't matter if it's saltwater or freshwater, and you had to fight one or the other, are you choosing your opponent to be an alligator or a
gosh.
shark?
That's really hard. So, you know, alligators like take you down and like trap you and drown you and
That
like
death roll.
the death roll and
Right.
like then you drown for sure. I think sharks just like bite you. So I don't really know which is worse. I don't know.
I think they can, I mean, depending on the size of the shark, they could bite you in half. So
Right.
probably a quicker death
That's what I'm saying.
with a shark.
That's what I
Okay.
would prefer if I had to fight one.
Yeah.
I mean,
If I had to fight
I don't
any
know.
mammal in the water, it would be a dolphin. Well, I
Well,
know that alligators aren't mammals, but if I had to fight any fish in the ocean, it would be it'd be a dolphin.
yeah, because they'll never fight you. They're so nice.
Yeah, I would kill that dolphin with all my kisses and all my hugs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what would happen anyway. Not to get sidetracked, completely off topic, but
Yeah.
I don't think you would survive a shark attack. And I just want everybody to know I was left for dead in the water of the Keys.
Okay. That
No,
was
I was left for dead. Okay. Here's what happened. We went on a safari in the water,
it's
right?
not a safari in the water.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
It was a boat
an
ride.
excursion.
Okay, an excursion.
We were in the water snorkeling in the Keys, and the boat operator, captain, I think he's called a captain.
Yes.
The boat operator, captain. He says, "Hey, everybody, be careful when you're coming back into the boat. There's a big giant barracuda. This thing had to be, I don't know, man. He looked like 20 feet long when I was staring at him face to face. But he says, be careful. There's a barracuda in the water. Don't look at him. Don't tease him. Don't try to tickle him. Just get on the boat, right? And so we're going on the boat, and there's a little ramp that you had to go in the middle of the boat.
Yeah, it was a
That's my
catamaran.
story.
Well, I'm just
I
trying
really
to
wish-
explain the kind of boat that it was. It wasn't like a regular boat where you're climbing up a ladder. Like the center of the boat dropped like a ramp down. So
Yeah.
that's how you got in and
Okay,
out of the water.
so this catamaran,
No, it doesn't have a D on the end.
I know. So this catamaran drops down a ramp, and the barracuda's right there, and they said, hey, you know, they're more afraid of you than you are afraid of them, so just ignore him and get on the boat. Well, being the gentleman I am, I said, hey, Arya, why don't you go first? Probably because I was scared.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And so you go first, and you get past the barracuda, no problem. And I mean, this thing has some massive teeth.
Yeah, they're really
right?
scary looking. Yeah.
He had an underbite. I mean, let me just say this. This barracuda had a face only a mother could love. It was ugly. It was staring at me. I think it was drooling in the salt water. And Arya just glides right past it, no big deal, and then panics at the last minute, and her little snorkel fins start going crazy in the water. Bubbles are everywhere.
flippers.
He freaks out. I freak out. And now I'm just face to face with this big, giant, nasty ass barracuda. And then we just kind of like looked at each other. He tipped his hat to me and said, good day, sir. And I said, good day to you, sir. I got on the boat, and that was the last time I saw it until a little bit later I threw a sandwich over and he jumped out of the water and he ate it. So I know he was capable of death. But for some reason, the good Lord was looking over little baby Max that day and spared me from the instant barracuda grip. That's what happened. Left for dead. This could have been a show with, I don't know, it could be Miguel and Arya's fascinating podcast show or something instead of Mysteries and Mimosas. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Some of that story is true. I think there was a lot of detail added for dramatic effect.
Like what?
A
There's
lot.
not, like,
But okay.
No. Nope, that's how it happened. That's how I remember it. I have nightmares to this day about that barracuda.
Okay, well, when we all think back, he literally made me go first. So you could have gone first.
I was not about to leave you for dead like you left me for dead.
Mm-mm.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, when I got onto the boat, I saw you turn around and you rolled your eyes like, man,
like oh, he made it.
Dang it, yeah.
Like I set that whole thing up. Like I'm like, hey, barracuda, meet me at this catamaran.
Right. Yeah, that's what
3 o'clock.
That's what it felt like.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt like a setup.
Wow.
Anyway.
Okay, one day, not today. Today is not that day. One day I will tell the jet ski story on that same excursion. Our listeners would love to hear that.
Yeah, that was a fun time. If you haven't been to the Keys, go to the Keys, swim with the barracudas, ride the jet skis, and in the meantime, I want to wrap this one up. So thank you for presenting this mystery. Such a strange mystery, by the way, but thank you for presenting this. And as we close this one out, let's just raise our glasses to the life of Alicia and Gwendolyn.
Cheers.
Cheers.